What is going on, fitness coaches? Welcome to another episode of the Change Lives Make Money on the Trainer podcast. It's your boy, Brian Mark. So guys, in today's episode, Kirsten and I are going to be discussing stress. How do we handle stress? We actually have wildly different approaches to how we handle stress. And so let's talk about the different aspects of stress. Because let's be honest, you guys, no matter how good your life is, everybody's going to have shit happen to them. And everybody's going to have these moments in time where life just keeps punching them right in the face over and over again. Am I right?
Yes, I feel like you are right. I feel like you're right.
All right. You want me to carry this conversation?
I have had the busiest day today that I've had. I don't know how Brian does these days, but it has not stopped because it was my check-in day. I had to get my winter tires. I had to do a call. It was a busy day. So I feel kind of like
sounds like
a bag of potatoes.
Kind of sounds like to me like you're dealing with some stress.
Yeah. And you know what I'm going to do? Kick and scream until I get my way, until you rub my back and make me feel better.
This is it. Okay. I think there's a masculine and a feminine way to approach how to deal with stress. And Kirsten and I have a rule in our household. All right. We got a rule. All right. And the rule is you can bitch, you can complain, you can let it out, but you can't let it go for longer than a day.
Yes.
That's the fucking rule in our house. All right.
Yeah.
You can bitch, you can complain, you can moan, you can have a bad day, but after it goes longer than a day, the other person starts having a conversation with the other person.
Yeah. And I think that should be the fucking standard. I mean, depending on the severity of the situation, there's been times where we've needed a few days, some extra time and space. But when it comes down to the daily stresses of life, which you guys, we all have it. I've seen Brian's life the last 3 months has been the definition of Brian's life lately from an outsider looking in is fucking stress.
I like it.
Yeah, he does like it. He's weird. But I think that that would be a really great rule for all of you to incorporate in your relationships. So many people hang on to shit for so.
Oh, I think it's two things. Number one is I think that the reason that people hang on to bad days, bad weeks, bad months, etc., is because one partner likes to be a victim.
Yeah.
So one person likes to complain, likes to moan, likes to bitch because we've done that. So I can speak to that because I know that we've done that. And the other partner is too insecure to hold a boundary and be like, hey, that's enough of that.
Yeah.
So I want to talk to you guys about how I pre-handle stress and then how I deal with stress. We'll kind of break it into two separate categories. So pre-handling stress. I'm a big believer that working on your mindset is an every fucking day thing. I'm a big believer that working on your mindset is meditating, gratitudes, affirmations, listening to my vision video, listening to success motivation. I'm a big believer that that's an every fucking day thing. And the reason I think that's an everyday thing, jumping in the cold plunge when I literally hate it, is because I want to train myself to deal with adversity so that when adversity comes, I'm already used to it.
It doesn't slap as hard.
It doesn't slap as hard. And so I set myself up for success every fucking day by doing my mindset work, by going for walks, by listening to success motivation, by listening to my vision video, so that when adversity does come and I am knocked off course because of something that's happening, I'm less affected because I've already done the work to set myself up for success with my mindset.
What about me though? Because I do the work, but I still feel like I'm going to call myself out a little bit. I don't like being a victim. And you can ask Brian, 90% of the time, I'm a happy human being. But okay, for example, when my app launched, the way that I dealt with it is I ugly scream cried for 7 days straight, called my mom saying, I don't know if I am doing the right thing. And that's how I dealt with it. There was no calm. I just pushed through that. And I always get to this space where I'm like, get your shit together. You're a badass bitch. Let's do this. But I feel like you skip the crying, screaming phase and you go straight to almost, I need to find a solution for this. I feel like you do have a space where you're angry or mad and you're like, this fucking sucks. This is annoying. I'm frustrated, but it's very short-lived. And then you go straight to solution-based mode.
I'll tell you why I go straight to solution-based mode when I'm faced with any major adversity or problem is because there's two options. Option number one, give up. Option number two, find a way through. And I would rather die than fail.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't matter what level of circumstance happens to me. I would rather die than fail. And so that means that if that's the case, then I need to find the solution. I also I like my life. I like my life quite a lot. And I don't want to spend my entire life dealing with a fucking problem. And I used to be the guy where a problem would happen, I would just keep fucking living in that problem. I would talk about it. I would complain about it. I hate my job. I don't like where I work, blah, blah, blah. I would just live in the fucking problem. I would just live in this pain. And then I just made a decision. I'm like, if my life was unlimited and I could literally do whatever the fuck I wanted, why would I spend any time stressing about things on which I have no control? And so I'll give you an example, like when the gym got shut down.
Yeah.
Like for those of you guys that, by the way, a shameless plug, my YouTube's going live in 24 minutes. It'll be live if you guys listen to the replay. I'm talking about the untold story of Aesthetic Nation Gym. Dude, when that gym got shut down and there was 1,500 members that literally didn't have a gym overnight, and that stress that I dealt with overnight, it was like, there was two options. Option number one, quit, sell the gym, give up, fail, which many people have done. And if I did that, nobody would have shamed me or blamed me. They would have understood.
Yeah.
Or option number two, find a way through.
Yeah.
And so all of the stress that I was feeling internally of this, like, holy fuck, I have like 1,600 people that think I don't know how to pay my bills. There's all these people that are like talking shit about me, blah, blah, blah. There's two ways to deal with that. Number one, I could crack under the pressure. And I could be like, this is so fucking hard. I want to give up. I want to give in. I can't take this. Or I could channel all that negativity. I could channel all that negative energy. I could channel all the negative things they were saying about me, and I could use it to fucking build the best gym in Canada.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I actually like, guys, I think everything is an energy game, which is why I don't like to sit in stress for any longer than a day. And sometimes there's shit that gets to me that like really fucks me up.
Yeah.
And I'm a human being too, but like I take that energy that I'm feeling, and no matter if it's positive or negative, and I channel it into something where I can create. I'm like, how can I use this to my advantage? Like, example, the attention with the gym. Like at first we were getting so much fucking hate online. There was so much negativity. But then I realized, I'm like, dude, all the negativity that we're getting online, as soon as we open our fucking doors, everybody is going to be like, oh, Aesthetic Nation Gym open, because everybody was talking about us negatively. So as soon as we open, all those same people that were talking about us are also going to be like, oh my God, they got the gym open. And that's exactly what the fuck happened.
That was the only thing I was going to say is I agree with you on everything except for your like, no one would shame me or blame me if I didn't like start with the gym. But people are savage until you open the doors of the gym. People are savage. Like they're just dinkies. They say things behind a computer screen that they would not dare say to your face. But I agree. So I think like, let's think about the people listening to this. Okay. And what they would want from this episode. And they want to be able to deal with their stress better. Do you think that the way you deal with stress was something that anyone can have?
Yes, because I think I trained myself to learn how to deal with stress. And
do you think that maybe there's like different approaches that people have that might like create the same outcome, but just look a little bit differently in the actual process?
Here's what I think about stress is, and I want everyone to fucking hear this. I actually think stress is a good thing.
Yeah.
I think stress is a good thing.
Yeah.
And I think that across the board.
Yeah.
Because if I didn't feel stress or anxiety or fear, then I would be missing half of my fucking emotional circuit. Yeah. Which would also mean that I wouldn't be able to feel excitement, love, passion, and joy
on as deep of a level. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think stress is a fucking good thing.
I was literally talking about this on a smaller scale the other day where I was like, you know me, I love summer, right? Yeah. But I've realized the reason why I love summer so much is because we have seasons. Since you and I like travel all the time, I started to almost be like, I don't want to be in hot weather anymore. Like I was walking down by the lake and it was like snowing. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so grateful for snow. And I'm like, the only reason that I'm grateful for sun is because there is snow. Yeah. So the only reason you're grateful for like love is because there was like love that was lost. Yeah. The only reason that you're grateful for the stress is because stress allows you to feel the moments that are peaceful so much more peacefully. Yeah. Right? Like a peaceful life, if that's all it's ever been, that's all it ever is. It's not something that you're like, oh, I'm really excited about this.
I agree. So I think that stress is useful, not just for the contrast it provides for you. Right? Like I get like, because what you're saying is 100% correct. Because I can feel stress. I can also feel joy, excitement, passion on a deeper level. But I also think that stress is a good thing, period, in general to have, because I think it's a good motivator. Mm-hmm. Like, when I was stressed out about the gym, I used that fucking energy to get the gym open. Mm-hmm. It's like, if you're stressed out about your 9 to 5, use that fucking energy to quit your job. If you're stressed out about how you look, use that energy to transform your body. Like, this is where I think people fuck up with the stress part, right? Mm-hmm. Where people fuck up with the stress part is when they feel stress, they're like, oh, I'm so stressed. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, I'm so stressed. I got so much going on. I'm so stressed.
Well, and I'm
so stressed. And that makes it worse, because then you get in your head about the stress that you're feeling and you start talking to yourself, start saying that you're so stressed. You start feeling guilty and shamed about yourself. Mm-hmm. Then you need to take a break because you're overwhelmed because of all the stress. Mm-hmm. Then you're stressed out and you're not productive.
And I think like in moments of stress too, you almost like separate and isolate yourself. Like my story is different. And certainly like every single human being's story is different. And I think that's like what's so unique about the human experience is that our life is so different. But at the same time, like stress is stress. And like the level of stress that you're feeling has been felt by another human as well. And so they isolate themselves and they say, well, nobody understands. And it's like, well, truthfully, they do because everyone's been there. Right. And I think a lot of people will look at where we are at now and sometimes be like, well, what's the most stress they have when they drive around in their Lamborghini and their G-Wagon and blah, 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 blah. And I think back to when you didn't have a car. I lived in a 600 square foot condo. I was just getting out of an incredibly toxic relationship. I was $50,000 in debt. And I think about our journey and like the stresses that came along with it. And I also think about how we've always been so focused on our own vision that if we met anyone that was doing quote unquote better than us, and that all depends on someone's definition of better, we would look to those people as inspiration. We never got caught in that comparison or like, we can't do that because think of Dan Martell. We look up to Dan Martell immensely. Love him, love his wife, right? We've never been like, oh, Dan Martell, like, you know what I mean? We've always been like, Dan Martell can do it, which means so can we, right? We've never viewed other people as competition. We've viewed them as inspiration. Do you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
Yeah.
I also think that like, so in regards to the whole, because one of the things that you said that I wanted to point out was you said, when people look at us and they see us driving the Lambo or fucking living in the mansion, what kind of stress they did. I think that that's the downside of social media. So I'm going to fucking pull back the curtains for a second.
Yeah.
The downside of social media is that you guys see on the surface the Instagram growing.
Yeah.
You guys see on the surface the car. You guys see on the surface the fucking 25,000 square foot gym.
Yeah.
What you don't see on the back end is how much money it actually took to get the gym open.
Oh yeah.
What you don't see on the back end is that it cost me $500,000. I thought it was going to cost me $200K.
What you don't see on the back end is the tension that it caused in our relationship.
What you don't see on the back end is the fact that not only do I have 1,500 members that are expecting to get the gym open, but I also have 10 employees and some of them had to leave the country because I couldn't pay them. And then they're mad at me because the gym got shut down where I have no control. What you don't see on the back end is that I've got 1,500 clients that are expecting a high level service from me while dealing with the stress of having a fucking closed gym while trying to be a good husband for you. What you don't see in the back end is I've got 50 employees that work for me on a daily basis. And if I don't show up as my very best self, then there's 50 mouths that aren't going to get fed in my company.
Yeah.
Like that's stress, right? And like, I think that a lot of people, when they get into entrepreneurship or even self-development in general, when they want to become better versions of themselves, they want all of the things. So they want the car, they want the house, they want the dream life, they want to be able to quit their job.
Yeah.
But then when the stress comes, they're like, oh, this is too much.
Yeah.
This is too much.
They crumble because of the stress.
This is too much.
Yeah.
It's like, guys, pressure can either turn you into a fucking diamond or pressure can also be the thing that bursts the pipe.
I agree. Like when you pull back the curtains, like social media just doesn't show everything. What I will also say is that you need to learn how to navigate stressful situations with your partner. Cause there's been so many times where Brian has been stressed to the nines and I am like a fucking chill as shit. We got this. We're good to go. And there's been times where I'm having a little bit of freak out and you always ground me.
Yep.
I don't remember very many times where we both at the same time were like, totally fucking shit. Because I'm like, if I see that Brian is really stressed out, it's a really good sign for me that I need to like step in and be like, I love you. We got this. Like, what can I do to support you? And you're the exact same way.
I think that there was a conversation that we had at the retreat that we just did. And by the way, we're not couples counselors, FYI. We literally got invited to guest speak at a fucking couples retreat. That's besides the point. There's a conversation that happened that was like, being in a couple is not 50-50.
Yeah.
Sometimes being in a couple is 80-20.
Yeah.
Sometimes being in a couple is 90-10.
Yeah.
And that goes both ways, right? Because if I know that you're having a super fucking shitty day, I'm not going to come dump on you.
No.
Like I'm going to like fucking put aside my shit.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
I'm going to come to you and I'm going to be like, what do you need from me?
Yeah.
And I've done that even when I'm fucking like under the fucking smoke.
Oh, he does.
Like,
and I
just
will
like,
say,
I put my shit to the side and then I come and I'm like, how can I serve you? What do you need from me?
I will say that I could be better at that.
Kirsten can be
everything that's going on in my life is really important. And you need to know right now, I could be better, but I am more aware of it. Like I will time out my things better, but like, even if he's like feeling really sick and I just feel like I'm like, I need to tell him. I got to tell him.
Different communication styles though. And this is why I wanted to do the podcast with you because like, I'm very like, I don't need to tell you the thoughts that are going on in my fucking head.
And this is so good because in the book that I'm reading, females are Venezuelans and men are from Mars, yes, and women are from Venus. So For men, they go into solution-based mode and they almost like he hides away. I understand that I'm not going to be talking to him as much throughout this period. The way that females operate mostly, and again, this is not a one size fits all, is they communicate. So if I'm feeling stressed out, I don't go straight to solution mode. I go to like, I need to talk this out. And once I start talking it out, like literally Brian will just be there and I'll be like, oh, I understand. He won't say a word. And he's like, cool.
I just nod my head.
Good talk.
So, fellas, you want a piece of relationship advice when your fucking girl's talking to you and she's pissed off? Just let her vent and just nod your head.
Yes.
100%.
And that's where the rule comes into place.
Yeah.
And so I do want to say that if you're a female watching this, because that's why I asked Brian, like, do you think I don't think that I will ever deal with stress the way that Brian deals with stress, because that's not the way that I work through it. The way that I work through stress is I communicate through it. I talk through it. I air it out. The way Brian works through stress is like lock me in my office for 24 hours until I figure this out.
And I'm just going to fucking do a call out to like the men out there. Like, guys, I think it's our responsibility to lead our family.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I believe that as the man in the family, it's my responsibility to be the rock.
Yeah.
I can't be the fucking water.
Yeah.
And so if shit's happening in our life or shit's happening in our relationship or shit's happening in my business, like I can't come to you and be like, please fucking help me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there might be times where I need support. But
Yeah.
like, I'm the fucking rock of the family.
Yeah.
So if I come home and I'm like, you know what I mean? You're going to be like, are we going to lose the fucking house? Are we going to lose the car? What's this motherfucker doing?
And when we do, like, so say that, like, you were like, we're going to buy this house. It's going to be great. I was a little bit nervous, but then when we actually bought the house you were, and I was like, nah, I believe in you wholeheartedly. Because for you to be stressed out, if the man is actually the rock, which I believe as well, you like lead by example, you take care like of the house, like you are the rock. You do lead the family. You do like, if we're going to break down on the side of a highway, I'll be the one freaking out and Brian will be the one being like, this is what we need to do right now. And I don't want to change that. I don't want to be changing the tires or calling I don't want to be the person that finds the solution. Like I'll support you to find the solution. But I think that's like really important for us females to understand that if you have the solution, but the solution stresses me out, it's so important for us to set aside the stress and support you, because us questioning your ability to be able to lead. So me nagging at you being like, don't forget your passport. Don't forget this. Don't forget this and this. You're like, you don't trust me as the man to like take care of my shit. So we need to like set our stress aside and understand that if we need the man to be that solution-based human being when it comes to stressful situations in life, we can't be like, take the lead, but also I'm really stressed out about you taking the lead. Right? Because then that's like, then you feel like your integrity as a man is being questioned.
You know, it's funny. So we have a funny story about this. So we're in the Dominican, right? We're in the Dominican. And we're fucking driving along the road, minding our own business, blah-de-da-de-da. We're in the Dominican. We take a wrong turn, right? We take a wrong turn. And when I say we take a wrong turn, I mean, we ended up in the fucking slums. It was the middle of the night and the maps were taking us deeper and deeper and deeper in the slums. So, so we're fucking driving around the slums. And like, when I say slums, I'm like, we're about to get fucking robbed, dude. Like, this is like not a good place to be. Like, this is like 100% third world. We should not fucking be here. Like, we are outsiders. And so like, it was me, you, Haley, and who was else? Was it Nick?
Nick. Yeah.
It was me, you, Haley, and Nick. We're all in the car and we're freaking out. And I'm like, I fucking got this. And like, Kirsten is like literally panicking. She's like, holy fuck, where are we? Where are we? So what I do is I grab a fucking $100 bill. And I hold out the window and I start driving because these people a lot of people in the Dominican do not speak English. So I held out a $100 bill. Somebody came up to the car and I'm like, you take me to Encuentro. I was like, you can take this, take me to Encuentro. And he was like, okay. And it's funny because he actually took the $100 bill. He split it in two. He pocketed 50 and then he gave 50 to his homie to give us a fucking ride to Encuentro. Yeah. But that's a really good analogy of like in those situations when shit's in the fucking, when you're in the weeds, you know, like that's like, that's how we handle
Another good situation is the Dominican trip when we couldn't get back with the dog and I like couldn't even handle it. I couldn't even handle it. I was like, just leave. And this is the thing is Brian was working on finding the solution.
Okay,
and I was like,
no, we need to give the full context.
Okay. So I want to tell this part.
Do you know the
Yes, I know the part. Yes, I know the part.
She knows the part.
So I know the part. So our little dog came to the Dominican with us and we didn't know that him going to the Dominican meant that he couldn't fly back through the USA. Brian's grandpa ended up passing away and we had to take a last minute flight back home. Nowhere would let the dog come. And I was literally like, we're not going to make it to Brian's grandpa's funeral. I'm going to be stuck in the Dominican by myself with my little dog. I was full blown like, I can't eat. I can't sleep. I don't know what to do.
So we're in the Dominican. We've got our little fucking 11-pound Chihuahua, Mr. Fluff.
He's only 8 pounds.
Which, by the way,
he's only 8.
By the way, us going to the Dominican, Kirsten fucking threw a fucking hissy fit and was like, "We're not going without my dog." So we had to take the dog. Okay, the fucking dog
I
had to
missed
come.
him. We've been
The dog
traveling
was
for a
fucking
while.
there. Okay, the dog was there. He came there for 3 weeks. He had a fucking blast. He loved the Dominican. Then we're in the Dominican. We're flying. We're like planning our flight back. No flight carriers were letting us book, and we found out that if you take a dog to a third world country like the Dominican Republic, that dog is not allowed to transport back through the States without its proper rabies shots or without its proper chips, whatever. Like it can go to Canada, but it can't go to the States. So we're sitting there in the Dominican Republic and we're calling every airline that we possibly could to try to get through and figure out how we could get this dog through. And Kirsten's literally having a fucking meltdown.
I'm like, I will never leave this dog. I will stay in the Dominican. You're going to have to go. Like, and Brian's like, I'm not leaving you. We are a family. We are a team. We figure this out together.
But like my belief in life, you guys, is no matter what the circumstance is, when you are faced with adversity, this is what I believe that there is a solution to every problem.
And I think that it's so important that when you're finding like your life partner, that one of you's got to be good at it. Cause like, I just like, truthfully, like, I'm so grateful for Brian in those situations because he just takes the reins and he just leads the way. And I'm like, that is what I need right now because I cannot. I cannot.
So like that, like, and here's how I really want to take myself to that stressful moment because I want to give you guys the practical solution to like being able to deal with stressful problems. When you are faced with a stressful situation, step number 1 is to breathe.
Yeah.
Like literally step number 1 is to breathe. Kirsten's freaking out. I'm like, she hates when I do this, but I'm like, you need to relax. Okay. I'm like, you need to calm down.
Step number 2, don't tell your wife to relax.
Tell your wife to relax.
When she needs
to
let her have her hour.
She had her moment, but it was a fucking moment. Like she was like full on meltdown. I was having a full on meltdown. You can leave me in the Dominican. You don't need to fly home. Blah, blah, blah.
And then I looked at my little dog and I said, we'll be fine together.
Step number 1 is to breathe.
Yeah.
Okay. Step number 2 is to tell yourself every problem has a solution.
Every problem has a solution, baby.
Step number 2 is to say every problem has a solution. And then step number 3 is to find the solution.
And
like
oftentimes,
one second, I want to finish the thought pattern. Oftentimes, you guys, the solution is literally right in front of your fucking face, but you can't see it because you're allowing the stress to get in your head and like clog up your thinking process.
And when I realized that I was not going to find the solution, it just wasn't going to happen, that Brian needed to, I started critiquing his way of finding the solution. So females that are watching this, if your man is like, I'm going to lead the way, I got the solution, be there to support, be there to like help out if you can actually give good feedback. But at the end of the day, all you needed was me to like rub your back and be like, I fucking believe in you. You got this. But I was like, what if, oh my gosh, what if, just like catastrophizing. Right. Mm-hmm. So obviously, if I can help with the solution, I'm going to help with the solution. But at the same time, like I was in a full blown panic mode. I was. Don't fucking mess with my little dog.
About this is funny.
Yeah. But you guys, like if we would have done this podcast 3 years ago, I would have came on here and I would have been like, I can find the solution. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have had this perspective. So it's really cool to see where we're at now. Cause like Brian is the solution-based person and I'll support you while you go to that solution and then when it comes to my life, when it's personal things that I have to deal with, like when it's my business and it's those things, I'm also solution-based. I'm not going to sit in my own shit. I'm always going to push through and I'm always going to find a way because I don't like being a victim. Mm-hmm. I don't like feeling sorry for myself. That doesn't feel good. But it's so nice to know that for the bigger things in life, like when we break down on the side of the road, that I can just sit there, look pretty, and you can
find a way out.
Guide the way.
And like, guys, I want to say one more thing because I think that when it comes to stress, this is really fucking important. You can talk it out, you can get it out, but don't sit in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't sit in it.
Yeah.
The biggest mistake you can make when you're stressed out is fucking telling the story when you're stressed out.
Yeah.
Over and over
100%.
and over again.
Yeah. 100%.
Just telling everyone you're fucking stressed out, telling everyone you're overwhelmed, or just sitting there. Like number 1 would be fucking like just sitting in your own stress and like talking to people about how you're stressed out. Or number 2 would be you're not actually admitting to yourself that you're stressed out and you're just sitting there in your fucking head stressed out and not dealing with it.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's like recognize, like I'm going to bring awareness to the fact that I'm stressed out. Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to find the solution to the stress.
Absolutely.
That's it. Right. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are just pretending they're not stressed out or they're stressed out and they're fucking telling everybody that'll listen to them that they're stressed out and overwhelmed.
Yeah.
It's like, bring awareness to it and find a fucking solution.
And like, I will add to this because I did a full training on stress-free boss B, because honestly, our lives are just high. They are, for an outsider looking in, they're high stress. For us, I honestly am just like, I love our lives right now.
Yeah.
Like I don't. So I did a training called Stress-Free Boss B. And one of the things is like, actually being able to like sit in silence. A lot of the time when we're stressed, we're constantly trying to find distractions and we're creating more stress. So stress then becomes our comfort zone. So we're now stressed, and we don't know what the other side of stress looks like. So actually allowing yourself to sit in silence and get real with it, what's actually going on in the situation. Because a lot of the time you're making a way more stressful situation by thinking about the stress and not taking action towards decreasing the stress.
Facts.
Cool.
If you got value from this episode, make sure that you are subscribed to me. You can find me at The Real Brian Mark on Instagram, Brian Mark on YouTube, or the Change Lives Make Money Online Trainer podcast. Where do they find you, babe?
They can find me on Instagram, The Real Kirsten Mark, and Kirsten Mark across all platforms. And I'm really fun to follow. Thank you.
Cool. I appreciate you guys. Hopefully you guys got some value from today's conversation. Have the best day of your entire motherfucking lives. Talk to you guys in the next episode. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. Hopefully you got some value. If you did, and you want to learn more about how me and my team can help you scale your online fitness business to $10,000 a month, DM me 10K on Instagram at TheRealBrianMark for more information, and I'll reach out to you to see if I can help you grow an online coaching business.